All right, guys. So while you guys are getting started on giving us some questions, you know that we like to go through those kind of questions. So I think we have a question from Amber Jade Harding, don't we?
Okay, so Amber on YouTube asked, "Hi again, is my UK driving license okay for my age identification, or do I need to get the access card to avoid taking my passport out of the hostel? Thanks, Amber."
Nice.
All right.
So can you just tell people what the access card is first? Just before we talk about anything, just a quick introduction about what is the access card.
Yeah, so the access card is basically a card that's distributed by the New Zealand hospitality industry organization, which is basically a legal sort of little legal document, a little card with your face on it, like a driver's license, but it's basically for the sole purpose of proving your age for identification. For instance, if you're going to a bar or, if you're buying alcohol at a supermarket, this is basically one of the very few ways, legal ways to actually prove your age in New Zealand.
It's basically the cheapest and easiest piece of ID to get in New Zealand. All right, so New Zealand is actually really strict alcohol-wise. Just to make it really clear, when you go to the supermarket and you're going to want to get yourself a bottle of wine or beer or whatever else you want to get yourself, they will usually ask you for your ID. As long as you look under 25 years old, they will ask, even if they know you, even if you literally been here 4 times this week and they've seen your ID, they usually ask for your ID.
Yeah.
They also very often ask for IDs when you get into a bar or when you're about to order beer at the bar. So they do ask the ID very often. And the first thing that we would like to mention is that your passport always work. But you don't necessarily want to carry your passport on the crazy night out when you're gonna lose it and all those other kind of things. But the passport is always the safest and the sure bet. Everybody is always going to accept it. Now, as per your driver license from overseas, if your driver license is in English, sometime if they're lenient and feeling in a good day, they may just be like, yeah, okay, cool, that works. If your driver license is not in English, they won't accept it at all. Now, it is not an obligation. It's actually not legal to accept your overseas driver license. Even if you're from the UK, which has a very similar driver license than New Zealand, legally, they do not have to accept your driver license. They can definitely turn you down. If they have an ounce of a doubt and you do not have a New Zealand piece of ID or an international passport, they definitely are well within their right to say no to you. Now, the reason why they would say no to you is not necessarily because they're going to be mean or because they don't want you to have a good time. They usually say no because if they are caught serving alcohol to people which are underage, if anything went wrong, if there is a police check, which does happen, especially around Auckland, they will actually be liable for fines which amounts to many thousands of dollars. And the person that serves you the alcohol also get a personal fine. So it's not just the bar, it's the bar and the worker. So they're definitely well within their rights to say no. Now, so in short, your overseas driver license, technically it's no. Sometimes that's very rare. They may accept it. Passport always works. Now, the international the Kiwi access card, that's the name of this piece of ID, is very easy to get. It only costs $55, so that may make your life very easy here in New Zealand. And the other solution would be to get a New Zealand driver license. If you plan on staying here for more than 12 months, that may be a really good idea, and we have some other videos about that. So just type New Zealand driver license and then NZ Pocket Guide on YouTube or even on Google, and you'll find our written article or videos. Now, if you decide that the Kiwi access card is the right thing for you, it's actually quite easy to get.
Yeah, so first of all, you need to go to a New Zealand post shop, which is basically the post offices that you see in all the towns and cities around New Zealand. And there they have the Kiwi, what's the name of this thing now? Kiwi Access Card application form. The name has changed about 5 times over the past 3 years.
Hands 18 plus card. If you ever read about the Hands 18 plus card, that's the same thing.
Yeah, so yeah, the Kiwi Access Card, there's application forms at New Zealand post shops. So you just go there and make sure that you bring along with you a current ID, like your passport, for instance. That would probably be the most appropriate thing for most people that are traveling to New Zealand. You also need to have $55 available, because that's the fee for paying, and you can pay that with a debit card, or you can pay by cash. And you're going to need some passport size photos, which you can actually get taken at the post office as well, just to make sure they are the correct size for the application.
If you get them taken at the post office, it's about $20.
Yeah. Or you can sort of work it out yourself, but you do need to sort of go onto the Kiwi Access Card website and make sure you check the right dimensions for the photos that you're going to be including in your application. So when you go to the post office, you will pick up an application. You'll attach your 2 passport photos or passport-sized photos, and you will also need to have a proof of address, which is obviously a little bit tricky for some people traveling in New Zealand. It does need to be a New Zealand postal address that you put on the application, and you also need to have a proof of that address. So mostly this is usually a lot easier to do if you've actually settled somewhere and you're staying in like a flat share or something. Maybe you've just started working somewhere. That's usually a good way to go about it. But if you want to get the Kiwi Access Card before you actually do all that, then another way to go about it is to, if you're staying at a hostel for a couple of weeks or something like that, you can ask their permission to use their address, for instance. And for the proof of address, well, you need to put a proof of address on your bank account or for your
when you open a bank account. So no matter what, you will have one.
Yeah. So when you open a New Zealand bank account, you'll also have to have a proof of address on that at some point. And if you just print out a bank statement or get a bank statement from your bank, which is usually the best way to go about it to make sure that it is, a legal proof of address. If you get the bank to actually print out a bank statement for you with your address on, that is what you need to also attach to your Kiwi Access Card application. And you will also need an original photo ID, like I said. So usually the best thing for that is your passport, and
that is it.
That's about it. Yeah, and your $55 application fee.
So so getting a Kiwi Access Card when you travel around New Zealand is pretty handy. Plus, it's a really awesome souvenirs to bring back home. So we think that that's the best way to approach going out in New Zealand, so you don't fear losing your passport, and you get a nice piece of ID to frame back in your bedroom when you dream about New Zealand. Forget about the pictures. Use the little ID card, right? Nobody cares about your picture of you in Milford Sound. The little Kiwi Access Card.
Yeah.
Anyway, that was a joke. If you guys find this useful, make sure to like. If you are new here, make sure to subscribe. We do those kind of videos all the time, and hitting the like button is the like button is always like a really good way to say thank you for all our hard work. So it means a lot to us. And in the meantime, I'll go back to the live chat.